Hi, welcome. On this video, I want to respond once again to the very recent post put up by Zach George on his Facebook page. And the title of this is Reading to Mean Comments. I guess it must mean responding to mean comments. Regarding, again, those who are challenging the so-called science of dog training. This is where, again, my series I've put out called Flipping the Script. I'd highly encourage you to watch it. The reason I call it Flipping the Script, again, I'm actually flipping everything right side up, flipping the script on the so-called science of dog training, which I refer to as trash science. Okay, I know that comes off pretty harsh, but understand that that's what it is. When I talk about, all the inherent problems happening in the dog training world, it points directly towards what I'm saying by way of how the majority of trainers out there are jumping into a relationship problem between dogs and owners. And this whole idea about learning with superficially motivating dogs to respond in the middle of a relationship problem without considering why that be a problem, based again on those responses, without considering both what a process represents by way of a intervention, okay, versus a learning-based exercise, and the core ingredients I talk about, influence and control, within the process itself. And again, this is where, again, there's so much confusion. This is why, again, it's so common for people to invest time and money into this idea of things, only to discover they're still dealing with a unresolved behavioral issue. And you have guys like Zach George out there who are attempting to actually elevate this up as science. And again, I talk about, even though there's lots of academics out there trying to do the same thing, I show this is totally corrupted. It is inherently problematic. Real science confronts the real issues. This doesn't. Real science can be observable. This isn't. Okay. This is why, again, you go on to the social media accounts of these trainers. Their videos look like infomercials. In fact, they're engaging in bribing dogs. Okay. And, you don't see transparency for a reason, because it's impossible to showcase bribery. Okay. But they have lots to say, and they're exploiting everything to market this because it sets up a counterfeit picture for so many dogs and owners. The blame shifting has become normalized, and this is so corrupt. It's unbelievable. But this is where we're at. Now, here in this recent video put out by Zach George, he's actually starting to become a little bit unhinged. Okay, that's the only word I can really describe it. He's getting more, kind of intense with kind of like, how dare anyone have a reasonable objection to this? This is like settled. I mean, it's so unsettled. It's ridiculous. I mean, it's not settled at all. This has been on a slow boil since Pavlov and Skinner. I talk about that. In fact, I wrote a book, Mind and Body Connection, referencing, going right back into the research notes of Pavlov and Skinner. I show that dogs were never studied the right way, but at a social level. And now look at all the problems. So it's almost like we're at a level now where this just shows you how corrupt, something can become, even though people try to frame this up as science. And look at it. And so you have guys like Zach George who are like, just totally sold out to this. I mean, they're like, they're like high priests of this belief system, and there's no shake and loose. I mean, it's just that bad. So I'm gonna play some of this video. Stop along the way. Again, just wanted to respond because there's people that find guys like Zach George and believe what he says and totally waste the time. It just doesn't care. I mean, all the problems happening, so he just keeps going on. So I'm gonna play some of this and stop along the way to respond.
Say, wow, I am stunned by the response by many to the live video I put out yesterday. It's still up. You can go see it. There was a if to summarize, there's a group of several dog trainers.
Now, right here, he's talking about like he's stunned. I mean, understand that there's been this these two groups, Balance and Force Free, been fighting forever. Okay, and it's gotten more intense. Now, even within the balanced dog training community, you see the infighting now. They're fighting, amongst themselves. And so again, understand this, talk about slow boil. Understand this has been coming off the rail since the beginning. And now you're just really starting to see this really unravel, because sooner or later that's what's going to happen.
Slash behavior people who are getting together to do a discussion. And many of the members of this panel are known to promote outdated.
So here, just a little context, a little backstory. So he's upset. There's a group of, trainers that are getting together to kind of, have a discussion. Zach George, I guess, is invited. He doesn't want to give it any credibility by not being there. I certainly would never be invited because, again, I talk about the real issue. So, whether it's balanced or force free, it doesn't matter. They're all aligned with the same problematic idea. But here you got Zach George going off, upset that, he's not part of this little group conversation going on.
Anti-scientific consensus ideas in animal welfare and animal ethics.
Now he's about to go off here because you'll hear it, who he thought was a kind of a, colleague, pure positive person, who's actually kind of flipped the script, and Zach is very upset about it because this person's kind of, saying some stuff to get Zach upset.
And it's actually kind of a gift for me to have this response, because this very much articulates some of the response that I've gotten from some of these individuals. Very much articulates the issue in this field, the lack of professionalism, the ad hominem attacks, the not responding to the actual issue, the science denial, the denial of the.
And again, he just keeps going on and on. Now, he's been on actually some of my videos in the past, and I'm very specific, okay? He couldn't respond to any of it, all right? And that's the thing here to understand, is that when you get to this level where you realize it's not about, evidence, facts, or truth, okay? This is individuals like Zach George, they have their identities kind of intertwined in this ideology. This is why you can't rip them loose from it. Okay, you can say anything. I mean, you can just lay the whole thing in front of them, and they'll go right to the end. I mean, basically right to their deathbed with this ideology. There's no way to shake them loose.
The scientific community having more knowledge than the individual, the arrogance we are seeing displayed right now.
Yeah, he's talking about arrogance. I mean, he's arrogant. Okay, I understand that. Oh yeah, there's lots of arrogance to spread around here, balanced and force free, and that's what's going on. It's like a bad cocktail mix here, but here's the thing, when you present it with, because I talk about this trade-off situation. Okay, I talk about what a process is, and we're at a level now that a lot of these individuals aren't coming back because the trade-off is so great. Okay, to even accept what I'm saying. In spite of all the inherent problems, it doesn't matter to accept what I'm saying. They have to give up almost everything. Okay, I understand, but that's the fact. That's where we're at. So that's a hard pill to swallow, but that's where we're at. But so I keep saying this has to go right to the wall. Okay, this has to, just completely unravel. And now you're seeing it. Okay, you're starting to see the cracks really forming here. In the dog training community, you're starting to see, this kind of really divisive thing happening with all these trainers. They're all trying to market themselves. You're seeing this back and forth. I talk about, I get a copyright strike from Ivan Balinoff from, talking about the real issue. I encourage you to watch the videos I've done on that. Going into all the different aspects and breaking this stuff down, because I'm very specific, in terms of what a process represents. So But now you're seeing it. Here's the thing: is it's like, and that's what's happening. Is that this whole idea of how these trainers have been playing all sides of the fence. Um, it's like this is built into it. The blame shifting on the dogs. From the beginning. So you see all the hypocrisy, the false narratives, all this back and forth, an attempt to call each other out. They can't. A lack of clarity, confusion, all of it. I mean, you could just go right through the checklist and mark each box off, but it all points directly towards what I'm saying by way of this very popular idea that training is a learning based exercise. I talk about that, how that right from the beginning with motivating responses in the middle of a relationship problem, how it generates a counterfeit picture. It paints a counterfeit picture for many dogs and owners. That's the focus. It's very it's just superficial, totally lacks depth, don't connect dots. And so this whole thing about science, okay, even though you have all these academics that are making money off of it, they have their reputations invested in it. It's a complete joke. Okay, this is where the academic community has lost the script. Okay, they've totally lost the plot. I put it out there. Everything I say is totally transparent. Dogs never, no study ever done the right way. Period.
By many of these individuals is worth highlighting for the public, and that's why I'm doing it. I think it's important that you understand the facade that exists there. During the promotion of the chat 2, there's this claim for unity. There's this idea that we are looking to unify the industry and seek common ground. And the theme really seems to be, how physical and punishing can we get with a dog without it being abuse?
See, this is the thing. This is what I talk about. There's no unit. Honestly, there's no unity here. Okay, I mean, when you understand, this idea, what is the force-free movement actually has the high ground based on what this idea represents. So, bringing influence into this superficial idea of things is challenged. Okay, it's like balanced dog trainers. They're in a compromised position. So this is what's happening. This is what you're seeing. Is just seeing all these things kick off. You're seeing all this back and forth. And because this is what happens. So it's not based on the truth, okay? It's problematic at its core. And so there's no way for balanced dog trainers to be able to reconcile the role of influence. You watch the video I put out, encourage you to go watch it, Jamie Penrith going on Good Morning Britain, having this back and forth debate with it's like pro, for, and against by way of the remote collar. But you see the moment just building up to that moment where Penrith is directly challenged on the using the collar within this process. To say, hold on here a second. This is the against the remote collar person. We show that that these devices don't need to be used. That we can get the dog to make a different choice. Okay, choice, response, right? And so again, this is the problem. It's like this is totally, this idea. This process itself is flawed at its core, okay, based again on how it's brought into a relationship problem, not understanding it's not a learning-based exercise that way. The role of influence is very specific in terms of its role, okay, with being dialed in the relationship through intercepting a dog's state of mind, but proactive in that way. So I talk about there's two core ingredients: intentional control and influence. A intentional interaction based method, speaks the right language, okay, with being dialed in. And I show come on the other side over and over and over again by way of perception of dogs changing. So, but here you have this, balance and force retrainers. They're tied into this idea. That's their jumping in point. And so balanced dog trainers, they're in this, they're married to this with the same idea as force free, and so they can't separate away from it. Okay, when I say training's not a learning based exercise, there's the line. Okay, and this is why balanced dog trainers get equally offended at what I have to say as force free. Well, think about that. They actually make sense. Okay, I mean, look at all the problems and just add all the problems to it. So, the force balanced dog trainers are compromised. They can't call. How can you call out something that you're in agreement with? They can't call it out. They're part of the problem. Just that they're trying to play both sides of the fence within this process, which is its foundation is flawed. So balanced dog trainers try to build off of it. They try to bring a negative in by way, but they don't understand the core tenet itself is flawed. So there's no way to redeem it. There's no way to build off it to say it's more science based. It's inherently flawed at its core. That's it. Okay. There's no wiggle room here.
And to us, we view that as an extremely low bar. That isn't the goal. Our goal is to highlight to the public that there is a significant, widespread practice in this field of ignoring scientific consensus.
And this is the thing. I'll stop here. He just goes on and on about, and this is the problem. It's so entrenched, right? About ignoring the science, ignoring the science, ignoring the science. So it's just like it's a broken record, and then if you look at all the inherent problems, it's unbelievable, to even suggest that you're, science minded, okay, when you're not willing to confront the real issue, the problems. Because that's the problem here. He's scared or terrified of the result. Just like balanced dog trainers would be too. Because if you built your entire reputation and business off of this ideology, and it gets pulled down, which it needs to be, that's a serious problem for all these individuals. I mean, talk about pride and ego. They've got to swallow a lot of it, but it is what it is. It's already done. Understand that this is like a dead man walking scenario here. So that's why I say this is, the truth is the truth. So the problem here with all these trainers, including Zach George, they threw the truth out the window a long time ago. This isn't science. It doesn't matter about all the academics. You can line all the people up, all these organizations, but look at all the problem. It doesn't matter. So you have to line the problems up. See, that's the thing. And none of these trainers, they're all in total denial. Not just that, they're part of the problem. They're engaged and they're actually complicit because they're all making money off of it. They're blamed. So it's like, and they're trying to, both these groups are trying to gain traction. Who's right and who's wrong. Well, there's so many red flags. I mean, just ask yourself the question, how could both these groups, self-identify or proclaim that they're dog training experts while pretending they offer something? That doesn't make sense. There's so many things. Understand, there's so much in the dog training world. If you're the least bit objective and, and just apply some critical thinking, the red flags just start going up all over the place. So, anyway, you can watch this. I actually did watch this whole thing here with Zach George. I mean, it's just, that's all he does. He's just locked in, and he's upset because people are challenging him, but even the people challenging him aren't right. Okay. Understand that. I mean, it's such a mess. But so again, you can check it out for yourself. Dog training world's come apart at the seams. This is another example of it. It's only going to get much worse. Thanks for watching.